Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are looking for possible betting value on the baseball card for Wednesday, August 26th. We're talking with Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com, who tells me he's had a great week at his website with his preseason NFL plays. Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. A lot of games I want to get to on this Wednesday card, but first just remind us how you did this past week at your site.
6-2 in the NFL preseason. I've been telling you for years, preseason is a great time to make money. 3-0 with the NFL Wise Guy plays. So it's been great in a baseball season. What a year it's been. Coming off another big winning day as we file this report. It's been a great baseball season, even though a little streaky in the second half, but it's been consistent winners all year long.
Great job, Joe Duffy. Well, first thing I want to ask you about, Felix Hernandez, right? Basic question, does he suck now or something like that? Last 5 starts, 27 innings, 27 runs. And then on the other side, Chris Bassett for Oakland has been, solid and reliable. Is it possible that Oakland actually has a starting pitching edge in this game?
Yes. Felix Hernandez, I don't know if I would say he's turned into a sucky pitcher, but he is clearly struggling. As you said, last 5 starts, he's been awful. And when you got a pitcher with that reputation, look, you're going to get a good line going against him. That magic word pops up, value. Going against Felix Hernandez, just too much value at this point.
And then another guy who hasn't been good since the All-Star break, although not quite as bad as Hernandez recently, is Max Scherzer for Washington. He's going to be at home against San Diego. On the other side, Tyson Ross, a little hard to read. Maybe no edge in general either way for the starting pitching matchup here. But, in top form, Scherzer would be a guy you'd want to bet against anyone. What's your read on Scherzer right now?
I also think he's pretty good value going against. He hasn't been struggling quite as much as Hernandez, but ever since he threw that no-hitter and then the next game, he threw like a one-hitter or something like that. And, he went in a ridiculous stretch, but he's definitely been a long-term victim of my bubble burst theory that as good as Scherzer is, and nobody would dispute that he's among the best pitchers in baseball, and he looked like he was the best pitcher in baseball for a while, but he was still pitching, in a ridiculous stretch, and he's been struggling since. I do think it's the old 90% of the game is half mental. He is overvalued at this point. I got a check mark that says to look strongly into whether or not I should fade him.
Washington is 2-5 in his 7 starts since the All-Star break. All right, now let's talk about some guys who have been faring better recently. Start with Justin Verlander. Did it again last week, right, Joe Duffy? 7 excellent innings at home against Texas. Texas has a very capable lineup, so that's impressive. I think I'm sold on Verlander. He'll be here. He'll be at home against the Angels, and Hector Santiago appears to have definitely taken a step down from his performances in the first half. Does Detroit have a significant pitching advantage for this game?
No question about it. He's got a 1.67 ERA, Verlander does, over his last 6 starts, and a .514 OPS against, which is tremendous. So he's pitching in, Justin Verlander peak form. He's looking like Justin Verlander in his prime. And again, as one of those disclaimers I like to give once every couple videos, it's not like we're talking about whether Verlander on your keeper rotisserie team or fantasy baseball team, you want to grab him. Right now, he is pitching clearly at the top of his game, and he might be back to being one of the premier pitchers in Major League Baseball.
All right, and then one guy who pretty clearly is one of the premier pitchers in Major League Baseball is Chris Sale. He's starting to dominate again over his last 2 starts, just 14 innings and 29 strikeouts in 14 innings. That's impressive here. He's going to be at home against Boston, and we know that Boston's lineup, especially when they go on the road, can get shut down. Rick Porcello on the other side, a little bit of a wild card. He's returning from injury. His rehab results were mixed, so he could be excellent, but more likely, I think, gives up a few. But I think we're either leaning White Sox or under here, right?
True. Sale has not been the mark of consistency this year. He's had some stretches where he's gotten roughed up, but I would agree that at the end of the day, he's still one of the better pitchers in the game. He's that proverbial pitcher with great stuff, and the fact that he has seemingly right at the ship, there's probably a bad pun there, Sale and ship. I would say that Sale is a guy that you definitely want to go with at this point. But we got to take a long look at the price.
All right, then 2 more games where we might see unders, or at least that's how I'm leaning at the moment. The first one is Tyler Duffy against Chris Archer in Tampa Bay. And this guy, Tyler Duffy, actually had pretty good minor league numbers, and he was, he had it was a little shaky when he first came up to the majors, but he started to settle down considerably in his last start. Again, his minor league numbers were good, and Chris Archer off an awesome start. Of course, you think we lean under here?
I would say so. Archer's a very good pitcher, and he is coming off of a very good start. And as I've said, these young pitchers, when they first come up, there does seem to be an advantage for the pitching. First of all, look, they're going to be fully focused. They're going to be pitching, in their minds, this is their biggest games, and the rest of the league and the scouting hasn't caught up to them. So I think this is a pretty good situation for an under.
And the other one is Baltimore at KC, Wei-Yin Chen against Johnny Cueto. The problem with that game is that I'm guessing the total will be 7. It might even be 6.5. But Cueto pitching well, Chen pitching well, pitcher-friendly park, and, I'm guessing that even at 7 and under might be worth a shot.
Possibly, you're the one that you've been talking about Chen all year, and he is quietly, putting up just fantastic numbers. Cueto didn't miss a beat. I say when stars of that caliber switch uniforms, occasionally there's a small bump in the road. He clearly didn't have that. And anyway, that would have expired by now. Both of these pitchers are pitching extremely well. It should be a very low-scoring game, but as you said, the odds makers are no dummies. They're going to set the total pretty low, but it could be a game that sees only 5 runs.
All right, as of right now, I think I am leaning Tampa Bay under, leaning Kansas City under. Definitely expecting Chris Sale to have a strong start, although I'm not sure if I would prefer White Sox or the under in that one. We'll see what the total is, and I'm guessing Justin Verlander has a decent start again, and probably leaning Detroit over the Angels. All right, what else would you like to bring to our attention from Wednesday, August 26th, Joe?
Well, the Pirates, Jeff Locke, they're obviously a very good team, but Locke has been terrible on the road, so the Pirates are generally a good team to fade on the road when Locke pitches. 6.02 ERA in 10 road starts. Jimmy Nelson, another guy we talk about quietly pitching very well. 7-1 with a 2.39 ERA over his last 11 starts, and poor Shelby Miller, his outings seem to be similar. He pitches great, and he gets zero support. And I really think, I'll use that adage again, 90% of the game's half mental. I think, obviously, the Braves' bats aren't very impressive to begin with, and I think they're really starting to push. They're very well aware of it. The media's been covering how Miller's not getting any run support, and I think maybe they're pressing a little bit when Miller starts, and it's become a kind of a domino effect. So I think you got to take a long look at the Braves under when Miller starts.
Yeah, those are 3 games that I did have circled as far as the total is concerned, because Nelson is also going against Carlos Carrasco, who's been quietly putting up great numbers. So I think I'd be leaning towards an under in that one. Under in Colorado, that guy Johan Flande is used to pitching at Coors and doing decently at Coors. So when he goes into Atlanta, probably going to get a boost. And then the Pittsburgh-Miami game, this guy Kendry Flores is not much to recommend on the other side. And Miami's bats have started to put it together recently, so, and we always get low totals at Miami. So I'm thinking that we might see an over in that Miami game with Flores and Locke starting. Great insights. Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. Thanks, Joe.